Hi, my name is Adrian Rodriguez, and this is my presentation on the impact of school environments on juvenile delinquency. I am recording this on my cell phone and clipping parts from my computer and my phone camera because my computer doesn't let me screen record. So I apologize if the quality is not as good as everyone else's. Thank you. Schools play a crucial role in shaping a student's behavior, also their personality, especially in grades like middle school and high school, where they're just starting to discover who they are. The environment in which the school is in can really affect the delinquency rates. Like, for example, some contributing factors are overcrowded classrooms. So, in certain neighborhoods where there's a lot of kids and a high population, big classrooms, a lot of kids can tend to fall behind and kind of be forgotten by the teachers and stuff because the classrooms are so packed. Another thing could be inadequate resources. Obviously, there are some schools with more resources than others. Another factor is the negative relationships with teachers or peers. Especially teachers, like this is very important because a lot of kids can have a bad relationship with a teacher and then link school with a negative feeling and see it as a place of dread and a place where you don't get along with anyone, not the students or the teachers. And this can make you feel left out and make you turn to other alternatives like some delinquent acts, for example, theft or vandalism as ways to express yourself or kind of just get through without having to go to school. Schools that have positive experiences and supporting staff usually show a higher rate of, kids who don't partake in delinquency and, find some place of belonging inside their community and inside their school. Creating a positive environment in school can improve a lot of things. For example, academic outcomes. Obviously, if a school has more of a positive environment, kids will thrive in their grades and work. Personal growth. They can really grow into beautiful young adults and great people that can really change the world if they're in a positive environment when in school. And also reduce youth involvement in crime. So reduce them from, any participation in delinquent acts. Addressing these links between schools and delinquency is crucial, and it affects more than just the school and the community. It affects the youth as well. Some theories I found in my research, specifically on page 223 of our textbook, were the strain theory, labeling theory, social control theory, and differential association theory. The strain theory covers the idea that some kids who struggle with school will turn to different kinds of alternatives like delinquent acts to kind of help gain, recognition and also express themselves since they can't really be seen in school because they're just seen as, somebody who doesn't understand how to do the work or, just a bad student. That also kind of tags along with the labeling theory. Most times when kids are labeled as troublemakers or failures, it can kind of lead to them just thinking that about themselves and changing their whole ideology on life. And these negative behaviors can really affect, a student's future. Another theory is the social control theory. This theory basically says that strong bonds with schools and teachers can really help kids change and, kind of avoid any kind of delinquent behavior. When these bonds weaken, through lack of engagement and, attention from students and teachers, it can make them fall more into delinquent acts. And finally, there's a differential association theory. And this is kind of like a perspective that highlights, the influence that other kids have on students. So, if they see, for example, a group of kids doing some bad stuff like vandalizing, textbooks or lockers, they're going to feel like they're going to be the odd one out if they don't participate. So they're going to do it as well. On page 219 of our textbook, it covers how a lot of kids under the age of 14 would commit suicide because of reasons of bullying. This is known as bullycide, according to the textbook. And this has a lot to do with the social environment of schools. Overcrowded classrooms and a weak infrastructure inside of a school can really create a stressful and negative environment for kids to learn at. It can also lead to many kids being bullied because of just everybody else being upset on the school environment and, lack of attention to specific students. This also goes into the student-teacher relationships, negative or, unsupportive interactions with students and teachers, like unfair treatment, lack of encouragement, can really change a child's personality and kind of leave them with a very low self-esteem. And this can also make them disconnect from school and whole, pushing everything away. Peer influence, like I mentioned earlier, with how some kids don't want to feel left out, so they'll partake in other delinquent acts that they're seeing the majority of the kids do, can also really, contribute to the factors and like within outside schools, and how that adds to delinquency. I would like to apologize for my stuttering. I'm not very good at presentations, and I do have a stuttering issue, so I apologize for that. Sorry. Back to the presentation. Family background, the family issues, including instability, neglect, and lack of parental support, can also very much affect a student's delinquent behavior and personality, and it can kind of lead them to more of a chance of being delinquents and turning to crime as a way to kind of escape their at-home problems. Like I said, these can all be found on page 219 of our textbook, and these factors interact to shape student behavior, highlighting the need for holistic approaches to address delinquency in schools. Some case studies I found when doing my research was the high school dropout rates and local crime that was done in Chicago, which was a study that was done in Chicago, to see how students who left without graduating were more likely to engage in delinquent behavior after dropping out of school. Another one is in Los Angeles. The Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports (PBIS) program was introduced in schools to promote a positive learning environment. This was seen as very beneficial to the children and their future, which kind of just proves the point of what I was saying earlier, how a positive school environment can really help shape a kid's future and their attitude towards school at whole. Some intervention and prevention strategies are school-based programs that can kind of be anything like mentorship, like having a mentor or like a big brother, big sister. Also counseling. I found in my research that some schools are requiring counselors now, which is something that I haven't seen before because my high school didn't have a counselor. And just some schools, like in most schools, it's very much required now, even in elementary schools, which I thought was nice. And also extracurricular activities like sports and clubs. This kind of helps build like team building and positivity. It helps make room for leadership skills, and it really has been proven to reduce any kind of chances of juvenile delinquency. Policy changes also like improve school funding, and giving more schools who are in lower income neighborhoods the chance to get good funding to make a better kind of nicer school for their students. And restorative justice. Schools, adopting restorative justice practices have seen a lot of reduction in suspensions and disciplinary actions, creating, kind of more of a positive view of school and, having kids less worried about getting reprimanded and more worried about, what the consequences long-term of their actions will be. Also, community involvement, like community fairs at local schools, engaging with families and students, kind of bringing family and students together. This can kind of help with, like how I mentioned, maybe some students don't really have a positive home life, and don't have, a very, loving family, and things like family games and family night, parent night, and stuff like that at schools can really help strengthen the bond between students and their parents. In conclusion, schools play a very important role in shaping student behavior, and their environment in school, like, directly affects, any kind of chances of delinquency. Some key factors, when contributing to school-related delinquency is like overcrowded classrooms, strained teacher-student relationships, peer pressure, and family challenges. Some theoretical perspectives like the strain theory, labeling theory, social control theory, and differential association theory really, kind of address the academic stress and negative labels and, weaken bonds that can kind of affect a student's delinquent behavior. Some effective intervention strategies were, like I mentioned, sports, counseling, things like school fairs and stuff to bring the community and families together that can really help stop any, you know, delinquent acts, as well as, just creating a nice, healthy, and clean, environment at school with, more funding from the government and stuff like that. And then, finally, a holistic approach is essential in addressing school environments, individual students' need, and community dynamics. Educators, policymakers, the community members, if they work together to create a supportive school system, it can really change a lot of kids' lives and lower the chances of juvenile delinquency. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my presentation, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I apologize for the video quality and my stuttering. I know it might have been annoying. And thank you, Mr. Perez, for such a interesting and well-structured class. I really appreciate everything you've done for your our class. Thank you. Have a great day and happy holidays.